of a non-material culture. Next, we have cultural lag. Ito ay confusing. Ito yung mga nakaraan kong estudyante, gulong-gulo sila dito. So, hopefully, you can get this part. Okay, so when you say cultural lag or culture lag, this is a usual occurrence in a culture wherein the material culture progresses or advances while the non-material non-material culture lags behind. So, let's have the definitions first before we explain. So, cultural lag describes what happens in a social system when the ideals that regulate life do not keep pace with other changes, which are often pertains to when advances in technology and in other areas effectively render old ideas and social norms obsolete, leading to ethical conflicts and rises. To make it short, when we say cultural lag, ito yan. So, ang nangyayari kasi, si material culture, ayan, si non-material culture, anong nangyayari? Si material culture nag-a-advance. Okay? Ibig sabihin, umuunlad si non-material culture. Nagpo-progress siya through time. Okay? Si non-material culture naman, naiiwan. Okay? So, hindi siya nagpo-progress. Naiiwan pa rin siya. So, dito, sa example natin, we have scientific tools and technology. So, we have computers, machines, etc. So, pwede yung mga mga gamit, okay? Computers, machines, cellphones, okay? Yung technology and scientific tools, ito yung mga part na material culture natin kasi pwede nating hawakan yung mga inventions na yon. While moral views on human body and human life, ito yung hindi natin pwedeng hawakan kasi nga moral views to eh. Ito yung tingin natin sa moralidad, okay? Anong nangyari? Si material culture nag-a-advance, si non-material culture naiiwan. So, anong nangyari? Yung technology, syempre, paunlad yung technology. Every year, may nire-release na bagong mga gadgets. Every year, may mga nagiging bagong inventions in science. Pero yung mga moral views natin, naiiwan. Hindi pa rin siya nag-a-adjust. So, ang tawag sa gap na nasa gitna nila ay, yung gap in between nila, ito yung tatawag natin na cultural gap. Okay? So, ang example natin diyan ay ito. Halimbawa, nag-a-advance na yung ating technology on how to kumbaga reconstruct human body. So, halimbawa may gusto kang ipaayos, gusto mo medyo pumayat yung mukha mo or gusto mo medyo sumingkit ka, gusto mo yung kilay mo medyo mag-curve ng ganyan, gusto mo tumangos yung ilong mo. Okay, so ngayon, yung mga tools, yung mga machines na ginagamit natin, yung scientific na mga gamot na meron tayo ngayon, ito ay nag-a-advance. So, kumbaga, pa-perfect ng pa-perfect yung paraan kung paano mareretoke yung isang tao. So, nagiging mas ligtas siya at the same time, mas accurate yung gustong mangyari. Okay? So, nagiging ligtas siya kasi dati mapanganib yung pagreretoke kasi nga hindi pa ganun ka-advance yung technology. Pero ngayon, ang gagaling ng gumawa ng mga ng mga tao sa retoke. Halimbawa rin yung mga transgenders, 'di ba? Makikita natin very successful yung kanilang operations. Talagang ang ganda nung kanilang transformation. So, makikita natin dun na yung gusto nila mangyari is nangyari, nagawa nila. Pero, anong nangyari na kahit na yung mga technology ay nag-a-advance para mas magawa yung gustong mangyari sa body, sa human body, yung moral views natin, yung morality natin, yung views natin sa morality sa atin, ay hindi nag-a-advance. It still, stays the same. Hindi siya nag-a-adjust. Halimbawa, okey naman na, ligtas naman na yung pagpaparetoke, ligtas na rin yung mga ginagamit na mga tools, ganyan. Marami na nakagawa nun before kasi nga yung technology natin ay very advanced na. Pero ang nangyari, 'pag may nagpaparetoke, parang hindi pa rin siya tanggap ng ibang tao. Bakit? Kasi yung views on morality still stays the same. Parang iniisip nila na, "Ay, ano ba 'yan, nagparetoke, hindi na nakuntento sa bigay ni Lord sa katawan niya." Or sinasabi din nila na, "Ay, bakit siya naging transgender, eh, ano nga, tawag nito, ang original niyang katawan ay lalaki or original ang katawan ay babae, bakit pa babaguhin? So parang nangyayari, merong culture gap ngayon. Kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng conflict. Yun yung tinatawag natin na culture gap. Kasi yung conflict, it arises because there is a gap between the advancement of the material culture while the non-material culture lags behind. Okay, another example is yung contraceptives and yung mga parang AIDS vaccine. So makikita natin kasi yung AIDS vaccine and yung mga contraceptives na ini-install dito. So anong ginagawa is ini-implant siya dito. We call that implantation. So anong nangyayari? Tumatagal siya ng 6 years. Ang alam ko 6 years yung tumatagal dito. Pagka parang may strip siya na ganito kalaki tapos ini-implant siya dito. So technically, ang pag-i-implant ng implantation ng contraceptives and yung vaccine ng AIDS ay it should be done during adolescent years. So, yun nga, mula mga 14 to 17 years old. Why? Bakit ganon sa adolescent years siya nire-recommend? It's because these are the years na parang pinaka-sexually active sila or ito yung mga years na gustong i-prevent yung teenage pregnancy kaya nilalagyan na sila sa ganong edad. Pero yun yung ano, kaya nagiging advanced tayo kasi nga ibig sabihin we can develop contraceptives which are effective na hindi ka mag-worry kung matatanggal ba siya o hindi. Pero nagkakaroon tayo ng culture gap because the views on morality, yung nga, sabi nga nila is, bakit natin sila bibigyan ng contraceptives ng gano'n kaaga sa kanilang teenage years? Eh, parang iniengganyo na natin sila na mag-try ng sex kasi nga parang sinasabi natin na they are free to go kasi nga hindi na sila mabubuntis or some sort, okay? So we call that gap again culture gap because the morality and science do not match each other most of the time. Okay? So, yung gap na tinatawag natin doon, to be formal, again, is cultural gap or culture gap. Okay? Next, we have elements of culture. So, basically, in science, we say that the elements make up the things in our world. So, in short, elements of culture, these are the things which make up what culture is. So, it involves language, norms, symbols, values, attitudes, rituals, customs and manners, material culture, education, literature, ceremonies and celebrations, and beliefs. So, wag niyo na kopyahin 'to na kung nag-ano kayo, nagte-take down notes kayo, when you are taking down notes, you just have to take down the things that you find interesting or the questions that you have, okay? Because these are actually involved in your module. So, hindi niyo na siya kailangang kopyahin kasi you have your own copy already. Okay, so yun yung mga parte ng culture. So, ibig sabihin, lahat ng 'to ay kasama sa culture. So we have characteristics of culture. So how do we characterize culture? So number one, culture is learned. Of course, si culture nga, sabi nga natin kanina, merged set of learned behaviors, beliefs, and all other sorts. So when we say culture, of course, it is learned. Di naman buong buhay mo, kultura mo lang yung alam mo. Siyempre, kaya mo rin matutunan yung ibang kultura. And yung anak mo, pag nagkaanak ka na, syempre, yung anak mo, kaya rin niya matutunan yung kultura na tinuro mo sa kanya. So, ibig sabihin, parte ng characteristics ng culture ay yung natututunan natin siya. Halimbawa, bago tayo mag-travel papunta sa ibang bansa, we try to learn what are the customs, what are the traditions, what things that we should know before going to that country because we are afraid of offending natives or locals. So, we try to learn their culture so that we will understand. Ano pang ibang example? Kapag nag-aaral tayo, di ba? Pag nag-aaral tayo sa school, at may napag-aaral tayo, especially history, or geography, or sa AP, kapag nag-aaral tayo, natututunan natin yung kultura ng ibang tao. Kung ano yung lengguwahe nila, ano yung mga bagay na acceptable sa kanila, ano yung mga bagay na hindi acceptable sa kanila. So, we learn other people's culture and we learn about other cultures. So, sabi nga natin kanina, language is also a part of culture. If you are learning another language or if you are learning a new language or a foreign language, so that is an example of how culture can be learned. Okay? So next, culture is a gratifying. So when we say gratifying, this is another word for satisfying or this makes you happy, or this makes you comfortable. Okay? So, example, kapag meron kayong kamag-anak na OFW or meron kayong kamag-anak na nakatira na sa ibang bansa, nag-migrate na doon, tas dadalaw dito sa bansa natin sa Pilipinas, mapapansin niyo, gustong-gusto talaga nila magpaluto ng local na pagkain. Bakit? Kasi culture is gratifying. It gives you a sense of you are home. So, although nandun ka na sa ibang bansa, na masarap naman yung pagkain, halimbawa sa Japan, masarap naman yung ramen, masarap naman yung sushi. So, matagal ka na nakatira do'n. So, sanay ka na sa pagkain do'n. Pero bakit hinahanap-hanap mo pa rin yung pagkaing Pilipino? Bakit hinahanap-hanap mo pa rin yung apritada, menudo, sinigang, kare-kare? Bakit? Kasi, siyempre, yun yung kinalakihan mo eh. Yun yung kultura mo talaga. Ngayon, yung kultura mo, nagbibigay siya sa'yo ng sense na you are home. Okay? That's why, culture also has this characteristic which makes you gratified. That's why culture is gratifying. Culture is gratifying in a sense that it gives you a sense of home, of who you are, okay? Na ito talaga yung ano mo, yung original mong pamilya, okay? So kaya sinasabi natin na culture is gratifying. Next, culture is adaptive, stable, yet dynamic. So, pag sinabing adaptive, syempre, it changes according to situation. Now, let's take a look at this word, stable. If you are stable, if culture is stable, now, why is it adaptive? Why is it dynamic? When we say dynamic, kasi it changes it frequently changes. So, paano nangyaring kapag stable, dynamic din? Okay? May gano'n ba ma'am? Stable, 'di ba 'pag stable hindi nagbabago-bago kasi nga stable siya, Now, paano siya nagiging dynamic? Okay, let me explain. So, in our culture as Filipinos, we are known to be very courteous and very respectful. Okay, so magalang tayo, nagpapakita tayo ng paggalang, halimbawa even in strangers, 'pag hindi natin kilala, hindi tayo gumagamit ng informal language. Halimbawa, hindi natin kilala yung tao, tatawagin lang natin siya ng hoy, or kapagka magtatanong tayo ng direction sa security guard, hindi naman natin sasabihin na, "Hoy, saan ba yung papunta sa ano, ganitong saan ba yung papuntang registrar?" Hindi naman tayo gano'n makipag-usap, eh. So, we always try to become respectful towards other people. So, tinatanong natin, "Excuse me po, saan po ba yung papunta sa registrar?" So, even our tone changes. Hindi naman natin sinasabi na, "Excuse me, saan ba yung papuntang registrar?" Hindi naman yung gano'n. So, minsan parang ginagawa nating softer yung tone natin, "Excuse me po, saan pa yung papuntang registrar?" Parang bakit natin 'to ginagawa? Kasi we are inherently respectful. Now, being respectful, being courteous is the stable part of being Filipino. Ito yung something na hindi nagbabago. Okay? Ito yung something na hindi nagbabago. So, yun yon. Pero, ano yung tinatawag natin na dynamic? Ibig sabihin, hindi iisang form lang yung pinapakita natin, or hindi isang form lang na uniform lang yung pagpapakita natin nitong pagiging magalang or pagiging courteous. Example, 'tong dalawang picture na 'to, parehas nilang pinapakita yung paggalang, tama? Or pagiging courteous. They both show being courteous and being respectful to an elder. So, halimbawa ito, nagmamano siya sa lola niya or sa magulang niya. Ito naman, nag-goodbye sa kanyang ate na hinatid siya sa school. So, parehas 'to nagpapakita ng paggalang sa mas nakatatanda, pero magkaiba sila ng paraan. Bakit? Kasi nga culture is adaptive. So, meaning, it could change from time to time but still shows the same concept or the same values, okay? So, kaya natin sinasabi na culture is adaptive, stable, yet dynamic. So, ibig sabihin, hindi lang iisang paraan yung pagpapakita ng isang bagay. So, nagbabago-bago din siya depende sa sitwasyon at depende sa, lugar. Next, culture is an integrated whole. Now, 'pag sinabi nating integrated whole, 'pag sinabi kasing integrated, ito ay pinagsama-sama, or, pinag-isa. So, paano natin 'to sasabihin na culture is an integrated whole? When we say culture is an integrated whole, pinapakita niya na kapag nagbago yung isang aspect or isang area sa culture, magbabago na rin yung buong culture. 'Pag may binago kang isa, magbabago na lahat. Ano yung example nun? Halimbawa, sa atin sa Pilipinas, we are very, um into white collar jobs. Pag sinabing white collar jobs, ito yung mga professional jobs, okay? Yung mga 4-year course, hindi makita. Ayan, mga 4-year course or ito yung mga talagang gagraduate ka na nakaitim kang toga, okay? Gusto nila yung mga courses na gano'n. Gusto nila yung mga trabaho na gano'n, yung professional, okay? Kaya ang nangyari, sadly, yun, nakakalungkot, pero, kadalasan, dati, nung bata pa ako, ang kanilang tingin sa mga call center agents ay mga mabababa. Bakit? Kasi nga yung call center agents, they accept all kinds of people as long as they are qualified and they are they are used to speaking to customers, they accept these people. So, kahit na undergrad ka, hindi ka pa gumagraduate, or kahit na hindi ka nakapagtapos ng high school, basta magaling ka makipag-usap sa customers, or kahit na hindi ka makapasa-pasa ng licensure exam, basta marunong ka makipag-usap sa customers, tanggap ka. So, as long as you're qualified, okay. So, parang medyo yung mga tao sa Pilipinas noon, parang sila medyo mababa yung tingin nila sa mga call center agents, okay? So, yun yung kultura natin sa Pilipinas eh. We look down on call center agents before. But because ang nangyayari is kahit na qualified ka, halimbawa gumraduate ka ng 4-year course kasi nga 'di ba sabi natin sa Pilipinas, ang tingin nila sa mga 4-year course matataas, ang tingin nila sa mga call center agents mabababa. So, anong nangyari ngayon, minsan kahit na graduate ka na ng teaching, minsan nga may lisensya ka na, may ano ka na, pumasa ka na sa hindi ka pa rin makapasok ng trabaho, parang wala kang trabahong natatagalan, okay? So, anong nangyari, nagiging rejected ka or minsan kahit na nurse ka, naka-graduate ka ng nursing, so ang nangyari, hindi ka pa rin matanggap sa trabaho. So, anong nangyari nun ay nagkaroon tayo ng mataas na job unemployment. Okay? So, ngayon, dahil nagkaroon ng malaking job unemployment, ang nangyari, karamihan sa mga tao na ito ay pumasok sa call center industry. And then they discovered that the call center industry is actually good. Okay? So, hindi naman pala siya trabaho na dapat nating nilo-look down kasi marami na rin siyang natulungan. Okay? So, kita natin, dahil nagkaroon ng unemployment, okay, isang aspect sa ating society or sa ating culture, dahil nagkaroon ng unemployment, ng malaking unemployment, tumaas yung bilang ng mga taong nagko-call center. Kaya ngayon, yung mga call center agents, hindi na gano'n kababa yung tingin sa kanila. Kaya ngayon, yung call center agents, ginagalang na rin sila kasi nga people discover that they are actually good. And it's not easy to become a call center agent. It's actually very difficult to become a call center agent. Kaya anong nangyari, dati mababa yung tingin sa mga call center agent, ngayon sila ay sila ay ginagalang na din. So they get the recognition that they deserve from the society. So that's what we call culture is an integrated whole. Next, culture has sanctions and controls. So, ano tong sanctions and controls na sinasabi natin? For every culture, meron tayong iba't ibang ways on how we discipline our members or how we discipline the members of our society. For example, in the Western setting or in the Western culture, the parents are used to talking it out with their children. If their children misbehave, they will ground their children, not ground literally like electrocute their children. When we say ground the children, they are just going to suspend some of the privileges that they give to their children, such as watching TV, or their children has to wash the dishes, or their children has to sleep early. Okay, so yung mga ganon. So, ang mangyayari, i-ground nila maging grounded yung mga children nila. But they are just going to talk it out. They are not going to physically hit their children because for them, it's going to be child abuse. Okay? So, that's the way how they sanction and control their members or their children. What about here in Asia? Level Asian, kapag ka nakumpleto mo na tong starter pack na ito, choose your fighter. So, anong gusto mong pamalo sa'yo? Minsan tatanungin ka pa ng nanay mo anong gusto mo dito? Yan, kasi nga, it's typical for us, Filipinos. It is typical here in the setting sa atin sa Pilipinas na kapag ka nag-misbehave ang bata, talaga matik palo. Okay? So makikita natin dito, magkaiba yung sanctions and controls ng Western setting or ng Western culture and ng Filipino setting or Filipino culture. So next, culture is material or non-material. Again, so we already discussed this earlier. So culture is either material or tangible and non-material or intangible. So makikita natin dito, may nagtanong sa akin student dati, "Ma'am, 'di ba ma'am material culture din yung yung mga festival kasi nahahawakan natin yung costume niya." Ang sabi ko sa kanya, "Anak, ang pinapasa natin or ang pinapasa natin sa susunod na generation ay yung celebration, hindi yung costume," sabi ko. So, kapag yung costume yung pinapasa natin, yon example na yun ng material culture, okay? So now, next we have norms. So ito na yung medyo interesting part. Ito ay tungkol sa mga norms sa society. Kadalasan Gen Z, maalam sila sa mga norms eh. Kasi especially right now, they are trying to parang change the norms. So they are trying to normalize some things na yung previous generations, they believe that these are not acceptable. Okay, so to be formal, norms are social constructs formed through the sharing of beliefs, opinions, and opinions of people inside a particular group. So again, it is a shared thing with within the members of the group or the culture. Norms are guidelines placed within a group in order to establish an identity that they should follow or what they should be. Again, these are guidelines na siniset sa mga members, "Oh, ito yung norms natin. Ito yung kino-consider natin as normal. So, these are the things that you should follow." So, parang gano'n yung norms. It's like an unwritten rule, okay, na parang ito yung dapat natin sinusunod sa ating society. And these are standards which the group considers as basis of what is acceptable and not acceptable conduct. So again, norms are like unwritten rules. Parang meron kayong rules na nakasulat. Now, kapag ka itong action na ginawa ng isang tao ay nakalagay dito na mali yun, so they are now going to judge that person because that person is doing something wrong in the eyes of the culture or the society. So that's how norms are. Now, norms are patterns that establishes the expectations of group to an individual. Actually, we have two kinds of norms, okay? So we have number one, injunctive norm. Pag sinabi nating injunctive norm, ito yung expectation ng members ng society sa'yo as an individual who is a member of their culture. So, dahil parte ka ng ng culture namin, ito yung expectation namin sa'yo. Dapat ganito ka, dapat ganyan ka. So, ito yung mga dapat ganito, dapat ganyan, dapat hindi ka ganito, wag kang dapat ganyan. So, yun yung mga tinatawag natin na injunctive norm. Okay, so halimbawa, ng injunctive norm is kapag ikaw ay isang batang lalaki, ano yung injunctive norm ng society sa'yo? You have to study well, kasi batang lalaki ka, para paglaki mo, meron kang matinong trabaho, para pag nagkapamilya ka, nagkaanak ka, may maipapakain ka sa pamilya mo. So, yun yung injunctive norm natin para sa mga lalaki. Okay? Usually, kaya nga siya norm eh. Pag sinabi naman nating descriptive norm, this is considered as the typical behavior of the members in a group. Okay? So, how do we explain this? So, when we say descriptive norm, this is the typical. So, this is different from the injunctive norm, which is the expectation of the group from you. This is more on you observing that this is normal for them or this is the typical in your group. Now, this one is very dangerous. Bakit? Kasi, kapag nakikita mo na ginagawa ng lahat or ginagawa ng karamihan ng mga tao sa inyo, iisipin mo na ito yung normal. Kasi nga, normal siya kasi nga ginagawa na naman nilang lahat 'yun eh. Dangerous example, catcalling. Okay? Catcalling, ito yung paninitset, yung pagbati ng mga dumadaang babae, sinasabi na, "Miss, number mo, ganda mo naman." Yung mga ganyan. Okay? So, catcalling is an example of descriptive norm. Why? So, isipin nyo, yung isang batang lalaki, nakikita niya yung mga kapatid niyang lalaki, mga kuya niya, yung mga pinsan niya matatanda sa kanya, yung kahit tatay niya, kahit yung lolo niya, nakikita niya na lahat sila ay nagka-catcall. Definitely, what would you expect, 'di ba? Yung batang lalaki, susundan din yung example ng mga nakakatandang lalaking members ng family nila. Kasi he would think that this is normal because everybody else is doing it. Okay? So that's an example of descriptive norm. That's why, in order to form good children, we have to first form good society. Okay? Next, norms may indicate a sense of fulfillment to those who follow, and while a sense of alienation to those who not. Now, this is an important reason why people follow other people. Kasi nga, halimbawa, out of ten, yung nine doon, out of 10, 9 people are doing this kind of thing. Tapos may isa lang na naiiba, may isang naiiba. Ngayon, ang mangyayari siyempre 'pag hindi niya ginagawa yung ginagawa ng karamihan, ma-OP siya. He will be like an outcast. So, ang gagawin niya in order to fit in kasi nga siyempre wala namang may gusto sa'tin na maging outcast. So, in order to fit in order to have some friends, he's going to follow the norms. Okay? So, that's why people follow the norms. So, types of social norms that we have, social norm, boys don't cry. So, lalaki, pag bawal umiyak, halimbawa umiiyak, yung isang lalaki sabihin, ano ba yan? Lalaki ka ba talaga? Ba't umiiyak ka? Kasi nga, social norm, the norm for boys, typical, is boys don't cry. That's why most na mga lalaking kilala natin ayaw umiyak. Kasi ganun sila pinalaki. Kasi nga, yun yung norm na meron tayo sa society. Another example, when you are a girl, you are expected to wear your hair long and then wear some, pagkabata kang babae, you are expected to wear some like ribbons, tapos mga clips, ayan, ganun yung ginagawa. Kasi nga, yun yung norm para sa mga batang babae. Mas pag-aalis, you are expected to wear a dress, ganyan. Tapos kapag lalaki ka naman, the norms kapag isa kang lalaki, you should be the one who would provide to your family. Okay? That's why mamaya may makita tayong example, pag yung lalaki hindi nagpo-provide sa family, kapag siya naiiwan sa bahay, parang hindi siya masyadong ginagalang. Another example, women cannot have these kinds of haircuts, or actually they can. So, yun nga, sabi nga natin ngayon, yung mga Gen Z ngayon, medyo malalakas yung loob nila kasi they are stepping up the game. Hindi na sila nagpapakulong sa mga norms. Pero, we can still see that when people have their hair like this, like women have their hair like this, yung mga tao nakatingin pa rin sa kanila kasi hindi pa rin, para sa mga tao, sa mainstream people, they are not normal. They are not normal because they are not following the norms. Okay, so ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. House husbands. Kapagka yung setup ngayon is yung lalaki, yung nasa bahay, lalaki yung nag-aalaga ng mga bata, lalaki yung nagluluto, lalaki yung naglilinis ng bahay, tas yung babae yung nagtatrabaho, yung babae yung nagpo-provide ng pangangailangan. Parang yung lalaki hindi masyadong ginagalang, kinakantsawan siya ng mga kaibigan niya. Why? Because the typical norm, again, is the male of the head of the family should provide the needs of his family. So, siya dapat yung nagtatrabaho. He must be the one making money. Pag hindi niya nagagawa yung role na yun, pag hindi niya na-fulfill yun, hindi niya nagagawa yung role niya according to the norms. That's why he's being alienated. Na-OP siya, parang ginagawa siyang joke ng mga ibang tao. Kasi nga, he's not doing the typical thing to do, the descriptive norm. Okay? Pero, truth to be told, kapag i-analyze naman natin, being a house husband, wala namang mali do'n, 'di ba? At least ginagawa niya yung ano niya, yung role niya, nagiging tatay siya sa mga anak niya, nililinis niya yung bahay habang wala yung asawa niya, 'di ba? So, parang wala naman talagang mali do'n sa ginagawa niya, eh. Pero bakit siya judge? Bakit siya, ginagawang katatawanan? It's because it's not typical, okay? It's not normal according to the norms, okay? So sometimes norms are okay because they set standards for unity, but sometimes they create problematic situations from some kinds of people. Another example for norms, norms about women's body. So a woman's body should be not too skinny, a woman's body should not be too bony, dapat hindi mataba, dapat hindi maitim. Parang ang daming kailangan gampanan ng babae, ang daming dapat role ng babae. Kaya yung babae minsan ang dami-dami ginagamit na product sa katawan eh. So kasi parang ang daming expectations ng realities ng society sa kanya. Yun yung tinatawag natin na injunctive norm again, 'di ba? Kasi Yung injunctive norm, parang ito yung expectations namin sa'yo, ganito ka dapat, kasi babae ka. So, dapat wala kang masyadong balbon, dapat wala kang balahibo sa kilikili, dapat maputi yung kilikili mo, so, dapat sexy ka. So, yun yung tinatawag natin na norms na parang kailangan sundin. Kung ayaw mong ma-judge or ayaw mong ma-alienate sa society, you have to follow these. So, these are the norms that we are talking about. So we have different types of social norms. We have folkways, we have mores, we have taboos, and we have law. So we are not going to discuss law anymore. But when you say law kasi, this is inscribed or this is instated in the whole state or in the whole country. So kung ano yung law na meron tayo sa Luzon hanggang Visayas at Mindanao, it still applies. Okay? So meron tayong tinatawag na law. Pero yung law, nagbe-base pa rin siya sa ibang norms, especially in taboo. If you commit a taboo, chances are you are going to commit a crime. Okay? So, parang yung law, naka-base siya sa mga norms na meron tayo. Except that, yung law, kapag siya ay sinuway mo, meron kang karampatang parusa. Okay? Pero yung mga folkways, yung mga mores, kadalasan wala naman talaga siyang sanction. Unlike ng law, meron kang sanction na babayaran or ikaw ay makukulong. Okay? So, mamaya explain natin yan. The first one, first type of norm is we have, okay, folkways. When we say folkways, these are traditional behaviors, way of life of a particular community or group of people that rooted from their ancestors. Okay? So, nanggaling siya mula sa kanununuan pa natin. In short, ito yung mga bagay na nakaugalian na nating gawin or nakasanayan na ng isang grupo. Sometimes we don't have a reason as to why we are doing this, pero ginagawa na lang natin siya kasi ito yung wala, ito yung sabi ng mga ng lolo ko, or 'pag tinanong natin, "Bakit niyo ba ginagawa 'yan?" Gano'n kasi yung sabi ng mga matatanda. Okay, so ibig sabihin, wala naman talagang basis for that. It's just that ginagawa na nila yon since then, since back in the day, kaya nila tinutuloy hanggang ngayon. So again, mga nakaugalian or mga nakasanayan. So folkways are informal rules and norms that, while not sanctioned if violated, these are still expected to be followed. So, lilinawin ko lang ulit, pag sinabi nating folkway, pag hindi mo to ginawa, wala ka namang babayaran, hindi ka naman makukulong, hindi naman nakaka-offend kapagka hindi mo siya ginawa. Hindi ka naman makaka-offend ng ibang tao 'pag hindi mo siya ginawa. Kumbaga, okey lang naman siya. Pero bakit natin siya ginagawa pa rin? Kasi nga nakasanayan natin, tsaka parang may feeling tayo na parang dapat natin siyang gawin. Kasi parang feeling natin expected pa rin sa'tin na sundin siya. Halimbawa, pagpapatuli, okey, yung mga pagpapatuli ng lalaki. Bakit ba sila nagpapatuli, yung mga lalaki or boys, bakit ba kayo nagpapatuli, 'di ba? Kasi nakasanayan na 'to, Ito yung ginagawa simula dati pa, yung tatay mo nagpatuli, lolo mo nagpatuli, 'di ba parang lahat ng kakilala mo, this is normal, this is typical na lahat sila ay nagpatuli. So 'pag hindi mo 'to ginawa, parang ikaw lang yung maiiiba. Kaya, sabi nga dito, hindi naman ma-o-offend yung ibang tao kapagka hindi ka nagpatuli, pero ginagawa mo siya kasi it's like you are expected to follow. Pero wala namang sanction. Hindi ka naman ikukulong, hindi ka naman magbabayad kung hindi ka nagpatuli, 'di ba? Pero ginagawa mo siya kasi nga again, nakasanayan na natin ito. At ginagawa ito ng mga kanununuan na natin at ng mga ano, ng mga kakilala natin, halos lahat ng kakilala natin, okay. Pero again, it would not be sanctioned if violated. Pero you still get the feeling that you need to follow, okay. Another example is yung bayanihan, okay. So yung bayanihan, kung makikita natin, 'di ba, ang dami-dami na nagbubuhat sa bayanihan. Pero 'pag nakita mo yung bayanihan, puwede naman na hindi ka sumali, hindi naman sila ma-o-offend 'pag hindi ka sumali, hindi ka naman ikukulong, hindi ka naman magbabayad 'pag hindi ka sumali. Pero, anong ginagawa kadalasan ng mga nasa bayanihan? Kahit na hindi naman talaga sila yung super na mabigat na nagbubuhat kasi ang dami-dami na nga nagbubuhat, ang ginagawa na lang nila, nakikibuhat na lang sila. Bakit? Kasi nga, at least masabi natin na we followed. Kasi kaya kaya naman natin sinusunod 'yun kasi nga nakasanayan na natin 'yun, okey? So, another example is kapag tayo ay nasa isang restaurant, tapos may hinihintay tayong kakilala. Hindi naman sinasabi do'n ng mga restaurant, maliban na lang kung yung restaurant ay may rule na bawal magstay kung hindi ka o-order. Pero kadalasan naman ng mga restaurants, pwede ka naman magstay doon, especially cafes. Pwede ka naman magstay doon, pwede mo nang sabihin sa ano, sa staff na may hinihintay ka lang kakilala, tsaka ka na lang o-order kapag dumating na. Pwede naman 'yun eh. Sabihin na ano, tas sabihin lang naman sa'yo ng waiter or ng staff is, "Oh, sige ma'am, we understand." Okey naman siya. Especially kung maluwag naman, ganito kaluwag yung cafe, hindi naman nagsisiksikan yung mga tao. So, hindi ka naman nila nare-require na umalis. So, hindi naman nila kakailanganin yung space. So, you could spend a while na hinihintay yung kakilala mo, okay? So, parang gano'n. So, hindi ka naman sinasabi talaga na umorder. So, 'pag hindi ka naman umorder, 'pag hinintay mo yung kakilala mo, hindi ka naman nila ikukulong dahil hindi ka umorder, okay? So, kumbaga, naging nakasanayan lang talaga natin 'yun, naging folkway lang natin talaga na kapagka pumasok tayo sa isang cafe, tapos may hinihintay tayong kakilala ta's wala pa, parang kailangan nating umorder kasi nakakahiya, okay? So, parang nangyari, you are expected to order something while waiting for your friend. So, ang mangyayari order ka ng pinakamura, at least may in-order ka, okay? So, parang gano'n 'yun kasi part ng folkway natin 'yun. Again, hindi ka ikukulong kung hindi ka muna o-order at hihintayin mo yung kasama mo. Pero bakit ka o-order? Parang feeling mo kailangan mong umorder kasi nga nakasanayan na natin. Parang hindi tayo sanay na we take up space in like a restaurant or a cafe without ordering something. Kasi feeling natin ma-judge tayo pag hindi tayo umorder. Next, we have mores. What is the difference of folkways versus mores? When we say mores, okay, this refers to social norms that are widely observed and are considered to have greater moral significance than others. Ang folkway kanina, wala namang concept ng morality. Wala pa siyang tama ba 'to o mali ba 'to? Wala siyang gano'n. Halimbawa, nagpatuli ka, "Ay, mabuti akong tao kasi nagpatuli ako." Or, "Masama akong tao kasi hindi ako nagpatuli kasi ayaw kong magpatuli, napakasama ko." Wala namang gano'ng concept, okay? So, wala namang gano'ng concept 'pag sinabi nating folkway. Hindi wala naman tayong, moral significance or wala tayong issue of morality when it comes to mores. So, another difference of mores and folkways are not expected to be followed, or folkways are not coercive and compulsory. Mores are compulsory. Whether you like it or not, you have to follow this because if you're not going to follow this, you are going to be judged by the society. Chances are you are going to be alienated or judged by the society. Mores are unwritten rules. Again, same ng folkways, unwritten rules din kasi lahat naman ng norms are unwritten rules. Wala naman tayong testament na nakalagay lahat ng norms doon. So, ito lang ay unwritten rules in the society. So, these are easily offended and may be the cause of social disapproval when violated. Yun nga yung sinasabi ko. Kapag kayong mores, hindi nyo nasunod, unlike ng folkway, okay lang, masunod nyo man o hindi. Pero pag sinabi nating mores, pag hindi nyo to nasunod, you are going to be disapproved by members of society. Yun nga, i-judge kayo. Mamaya may examples tayo. Mores affect and regulate an individual's actions and way of thinking in the society. So, dito, makikita natin yung decision making natin ay naapektuhan ng mores na meron tayo sa society. So, let's have examples. Two types of mores. We have positive mores or duty. So, these are your thou shall behavior. So, ito ang dapat mong gawin. This is your duty as a member of the society. And then we have negative mores or restriction. So, negative mores or restriction naman, syempre, restriction, this is your thou shall not behavior. As a member of our culture or as a member of our society, these are the things that you should not do. These are your restrictions. Yun yung ating negative mores. Example, so, thou shall behavior or positive mores, thou shall be married before you have sex. Okay? So, kailangan bago ka magbuntis, bago ka makipag-sex, kailangan kasal ka muna. Okay? So, yun yung ating positive mores. Yun yung, sa Pilipinas, sa Pilipinas. Kasi sa Western culture or Western setting, kadalasan, pag sinabi nating live-in, okay lang sa kanila, tanggap na nila. Pero dito sa atin sa Pilipinas, medyo may ano pa din eh, medyo may pag-decline pa din ng mga tao pag sinabi nating live-in. Kahit na sabihin natin na legal kayong magjowa, legal kayo sa both parties ng pamilya nyo. Halimbawa, yung boyfriend nyo, um, kilala ng magulang mo, yung girlfriend mo, kilala ng magulang mo, pero 'pag sinabi niyong gusto niyo mag-live-in, lalo na 'pag nag-aaral pa kayo, hindi kayo papayagan. Dito sa Pilipinas, hindi kayo papayagan. Kasi nga iba yung kultura natin dito, okay. So, yung positive mores natin, yung duty natin is, of course, kailangan muna na kayo ay may sarili ng trabaho, kayo ay may sarili ng ipon, kayo ay nakapagtapos na bago kayo mag-live-in, bago kayo mag-sex. Yun yung positive mores, yun yung duty natin. Ano yung negative mores natin? Ano yung restriction natin? Bawal kang mabuntis, bawal kang makipag-sex kung hindi pa kayo kasal. Or lalo na kapag nag-aaral pa kayo, parang ganon. Kasi nga, yung society natin, culture natin, especially here in the Philippines, parang they still look down on, yun nga, teenage pregnancy. Of course, personally, for myself, I'm also not promoting teenage pregnancy because marami pa tayong, kumbaga, kailangan i-improve sa sarili natin. And, syempre, before we have children, we should make sure na kaya natin silang itaguyod, na kung ano man yung kailangan nila, kaya nating i-provide. Kaya, yun nga, recommended din na kailangan may trabaho muna bago magkaroon ng baby or ng anak. Ayun nga. Pero sabi nga natin, thou shall not behavior dito sa bansa natin sa Pilipinas is you should not have sex before you are married. Typical. Kasi nga, yun nga, Christian, karamihan dito sa bansa natin, Catholic. So, we still follow by the rules of the Bible na yun nga, ang sabi is, yun nga, kailangan kasal muna bago magkaroon ng sexual intercourse. So, yung thou shall behavior natin is, thou shall not have sex, thou shall not be pregnant, if you are still not married. Okay? Especially if you are still in school. Yun yung isang example natin ng positive mores and negative mores. So, ito po yun. Siyempre, yun nga, gina-judge tayo ng society. Hindi naman kasi sinasabi, pag folkway, kasi di ba pwedeng oo, pwedeng hindi. Pwede mo namang gawin, pwede mo namang hindi gawin, pero madalas ginagawa natin kasi nakasanayan na. So, hindi naman tayo nagpapakasal dahil nakasanayan na natin eh. Nagpapakasal talaga tayo kasi yun talaga yung sinasabi sa atin ng society. Next, another thou shall behavior. Thou shall be faithful to your partner. And thou shall not be cheating. Okay? So, thou shall not be a cheater, okay? So, 'di ba, makikita natin sa society natin, again, kailangan nating maging faithful sa ating partner, yun ay ating social behavior. That is expected of us. So, ngayon, pag naging cheater ka naman, tendency, syempre, aawayin ka ng lahat ng kakilala mo or aawayin ka ng mga kamag-anak nung niloko mo. Kasi nga, bakit ka inaaway? Kasi nga, thou shall not do that. Yun ay isang bagay na hindi mo dapat gawin. Yun ay negative mores according sa society and according sa culture, okay? So, makikita natin, yun, kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng positive mores and negative mores. Now, what about a taboo? What is the difference? Actually, taboo is like a negative mores or a negative norm, except pag sinabi natin taboo, this is subject to sanction, kadalasan, subject to sanction, and kapag ka na-commit mo tong taboo na to, chances are, i-outcast ka talaga nila sa society. Talagang parang diring-diri sila sa'yo at ayaw ka na nilang makita pag ito ay ginawa mo. So, described as an extremely abominable act in every culture. Talagang sobrang, kita nyo, abominable. Grabe. Sobrang karimari-marim ng mga gawain ito. So, taboo is an inconceivable conduct. Kung sabing inconceivable, hindi natin maisip kung paano nila nagawa to. That is so detestable that even thinking of it is problematic and disgusting to the members of the culture. These acts are highly prohibited in a culture and is subject to punishment. So, hindi ka lang i-judge kasi negative norm, i-judge ka eh. Or magagalit sa'yo eh. Pag sinabing taboo, ito ay talagang highly prohibited, ikaw ay magkakaroon ng punishment, you will be disapproved, disowned, and alienated. So, grabe yung parampatang parusa pag nagawa mo tong taboo. Ano yung examples natin ng taboo? For the Muslim culture, they have eating pork. Okay? So, alam naman natin sa Muslim bawal yung pagkain ng pork, maliban na lang kung kumbaga para may certification, pero kung may halal. Pero etong ano, etong eating pork, yon sa kanila, halimbawa walang halal certification, hindi mo na ipaalam, pero kinain mo yung pork sa kanila, hindi lang naman sila i-judge, hindi lang naman sila papagalitan, pero i-disown talaga sila. Talagang may punishment. Minsan nga, grabe pa yung punishment sa kanila kapag ganon. Another example, cannibalism. Imagine, 'di ba, may halimbawa nalaman niyo yung kakilala ninyo cannibal pala siya. So, would you still go to that friend's house? Would you still parang ano, kakausapin niyo pa rin ba siya lagi? So, sasama pa rin ba kayo sa kanila pagka nagpapasama sila sa isang lugar? 'Di ba hindi na? Kasi they are doing something which is abominable, which is inconceivable. Another, incest. Okay? Incest is an example of taboo. You should not do this. Okay? Just imagine, especially kung may mga kapatid kayo. So, just imagine kung mga kapatid nyo, aasawahin ninyo. Okay? So, I'm in love with my son and I want to have his baby. So, in this case, the mother and the son are romantically in love and sexually in love. Diba? So, makikita natin, it's inconceivable. Another example of taboo is having sex with corpses. Sa mga bangkay. So, necrophilic, okay? So, makikita natin yung mga tao na yun na nakikipag-sex sa mga bangkay, 'di ba? Parang hindi mo maisip, patay na yun eh, especially pag patay na ng isang linggo, pero nakikipag-sex pa rin sila dun sa patay na ng isang linggo, 'di ba? There are lots of bacteria there. So, you can't think why do they do such things, pero ginagawa nila. So, that is an example of taboo. So, these are examples of taboo. Okay? So, now, what do you call a person who is against the norms? So, I will give you 5 counts to think. A person who goes against the norms. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ink. Okay. So, you call a person who go against the norms as deviant. Okay. So, you call the person who goes against the norms as a deviant. Okay? So, ayan po ang tawag natin sa isang taong gumagawa ng something which is against the norm. So, this is a form of deviating from what is considered as normal by the society. So, the person is committing deviance. Okay? So, yun po. And last slide, we have ideas, beliefs, and values. Madali lang to. You have keywords to understand. When we say ideas, these are the conception of his physical and social world. Ito yung naiisip niya. Okay? Ito yung naiisip niya about things around him. Now, when we say beliefs, these are conviction. Okay? Ito yung pinaniniwalaan. May basis man o wala, ito yung pinaniniwalaan niya. Kaya nga meron tayong superstitious beliefs in our culture. So, yun yung mga pinaniniwalaan natin. So, it embodies people's perception of reality. For them, this is real. That's why they believe it. Okay? And lastly, when we say values, these are foundations. So, pag sinabi natin foundation, ito yung mga bagay na tinatandaan nila mula pagkabata na dinadala nila hanggang paglaki. Anong mga examples ng Filipino values? Pagka matulungin, pagka magalang, pagka makajos, pagka makakalikasan, pagka makabansa. Okay, mga ganon. Okay, so yung example natin ng values. Again, foundation, kaya siya foundation kasi these are the things that we understand in our childhood that we try to carry until adulthood. Okay? So that ends our first video lesson. So I'm going to take a video again of our second video lesson and probably I would upload it by this week. So, by your quiz, okay, yung quiz ninyo is I'm going to schedule kung ano yung time na available kayo, ano yung schedule nyo na available kayo, para doon kayo magko-quiz. Pero syempre, kailangan muna natin na magkaroon ng synchronous classes before you take your quiz so that if you have any clarifications to make, pwede, okay? So, para bago kayo mag-quiz, syempre, nalinaw nyo na kung ano yung mga gusto nyo tanongin. Okay, so if you already watched this video, if you already finished watching this video, thank you so much for bearing with me until the end of the slide. See you on the next video. Goodbye.